Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're doing very well this lovely afternoon. The sun's shining where I am, and I today have the most exciting guest with me. I have no other than Scott Henshall, fashion designer, broadcaster, and entrepreneur. So I am just waiting for Scott to join me. Scott is coming on to tell me all about him and his story, and I cannot wait for him to join. Hi guys, you're very welcome. Hi everybody. So, if Scott, I can see you. If you just sent me a request to join, let me see. Okay. Here we go. Sent you an invite. That might work. How are you, everybody? I hope you're all doing really well. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Tonya.
Hello.
How are you doing, darling?
I'm really, really well. It is so lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you as well, Tonya. I was so traumatized. This is the first time I've ever done an Instagram live. So
Well,
I was like freaking out. But never mind.
Oh, well, you're here and you're here in front of me, and it is such a pleasure to have you. I can see your internet is a little bit unstable, so I hope you can hear me.
I do apologize for internet connection. It's the bane of my life.
Yeah, well, me as well. So hopefully all these wonderful followers that are joining us will have no problem at all listening to us. I just want to give it a little bit of an opening to those people that are joining us, who you are. Now, I don't need to give you any introduction, but I would love to anyway. So we have today Scott Henshall, is fashion designer, broadcaster, and entrepreneur. He is the world's class designer, and you have been dominating the red carpet since 1998. When you became the youngest designer to debut at London Fashion Week. You are the designer of choice over the years for many A-listers.
For some.
Yeah, no, you are honestly just so honored to have you on with us. Why don't you tell those who are joining us a little bit about yourself, Scott? And then I've got some wonderful questions to ask you today.
Well, first of all, Tonya, I just have to do this. Okay. This fragrance has taken me back. And I know it's called Stories, and I'm not being paid to do this. I love this fragrance. The notes of orange, the bergamot, everything takes me back to when I was like a 6-year-old little kid, and I'd get my mum's handbag and I'd like walk in it, and her dress, you know, which of course I dressed up in. Come on, that's what we do, don't we?
Yes.
And it takes me back to that. You have managed to create, Tonya, a fragrance that is nostalgic for me, never mind what memories it creates for yourself. And that just evokes and it's like I open the and I just remember smelling fragrance. I wish the handbag still existed. I mean, I have hundreds from being creative director of Mulberry and all the rest of that of bags. I've got enough bags to live a million lifetimes, but I just wish I had that one, and it smelt of my mum's perfume.
Wow, I love it, Scott. And honestly,
and that evokes a story to me that just takes me back to being that like 5-6-year-old kid in my mum's dress, wearing her high heels, smelling her handbag. And that's the handbag that I love. So that's the most important story. I just wish we had that handbag. And of course we don't.
We can always try to recreate it, Scott.
Well, yes. And that's what you do, isn't it? It's like, it's music, it's fragrances, it takes you back, it's memories.
Yes,
And that's what you
absolutely.
hold on to and what you love.
Yeah, and you know, that's exactly why I created stories. It was all about my story and my connection with fragrance and my memories. And it was so powerful in my life that I just wanted to connect other people's. So when I hear the likes of yourself and other people saying to me, oh my goodness, you have been able to stir emotion in me. I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. It's just everything I've wanted for the brand. But enough about us and stories. I
Can
want
I
to
just
talk.
say, I'm not looking so hot today. I've just
You're
had a
looking
facial. And I'm
amazing.
like, lighting's not looking good
Well,
for
you look
me.
amazing. I need a ring light, so that's what I'm using. It's so good. But
Darling, I don't even have one. I wish I could have this. It's like, do filter on live. I'm
oh,
joking.
you look amazing. Absolutely amazing. You don't need it. So tell me a little bit about London Fashion Week. You were the youngest designer to debut in London Fashion Week. And what on earth? How did this happen? Tell me a little bit about the background of where did you get your desire for fashion? Where did you get your love and passion?
Tonya, I think, as I would say, from like my mum's handbag at the age of like 5 or 6, opening that bag, getting that smell, creating. I would always do sketches that mum would put on the wall. And I think it also, the biggest inspiration I've ever had is my mum, because I was allowed to be creative. I was allowed to just be myself, which
Yes.
is the most important thing any child should always be able to be.
Agree.
So I don't take anything apart from pride in what my mum enabled me to actually have. So then, at like the age of 9, 10, I started entering competitions on Blue Peter. I started winning, 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 getting more Blue Peter badges, and realized you can actually achieve something. And this is in, I don't think people actually understand now, apart from us, because we're slightly older, when it goes back to days where there was no internet, there was no
Yeah.
nothing, it was like, my gosh, there's a chance to win something. And I did. And I loved the idea of winning competitions. And I did. On all the TV shows like Blue Peter and all those Saturday. And I know that sounds silly, but it started to make me realize that you can actually achieve something from a very young age.
Yes.
And it was amazing. And that's what I've carried forth in my life. So I'm so proud to have been the youngest designer at the age of 2022. I was 22, not
Yes, you
2022.
were. It wasn't in 2020.
In 1998, when I showed at London Fashion Week, to be able to showcase my collection that I was so passionate about. Had no idea what I was doing, no idea about anything else, but I managed to pull it off.
Well, congratulations. And honestly, I'm so jealous of you, Blue Peter. We used to watch it faithfully as a child, loved Blue Peter. And actually, the fact that you just kept entering and winning is just incredible. In terms of your design and is there anybody who inspired you growing up that actually, you know, that you kind of gave you the direction that you were going on?
Gosh, I think for inspiration as direction, it is the strongest female characters I have in my life. My mom, my auntie Pam, and people that believed in me. But also, as a kid growing up, who inspired me most than anything in the world was Madonna,
Yeah.
because it was this idea of reinvention, this idea of creating the world's most expensive videos. Do you know what? You just do it and you're slaying it and you're killing it and you're creating the most beautiful visuals. And for me, as like a 14, 15-year-old kid, I'm like, oh my God, this is epic.
Yeah.
So that's what did that for me.
But and you went
and
on
I got to dress Madonna, so I'm happy.
I was just going to say, yeah, I was about to say, but then for somebody so iconic, you went on then to dress her, and etc. So that must be absolutely incredible to have such inspiration from somebody, and then her come to you for inspiration.
I don't know if it necessarily came to her from inspiration, but she got to wear my cashmere, and I was delighted when she did.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I ever met Madonna, it was at the Versace retrospective back in 2002, 20 years ago. And I just thought, what do you say to the ultimate icon? All I could say is, because she was there with her daughter, I said, your daughter's very beautiful. And she said, thank you. So I'm like, game over. Madonna said thank you to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely incredible. But in your career, you've had so many chances to meet and to dress and become the designer for so many celebrities, and I'm sure you have so many stories that you could share, and maybe some that you cannot share, but
darling, there's so many more we can never share, but I'll tell you after.
Yes, I'll be delighted for that. So even when you think about doing your debut at the age of 22, it's just incredible. But in the late 90s, you became the first ever Western designer to create a label exclusively into the Japanese market. That was hugely successful for you, wasn't it, Scott?
I mean, it was amazing. How that came about was it was with a brand called ABBA House, and it was at the late 90s, so it was the time of Cool Britannia. There was like Oasis, Pulp, you know, Patsy Kensit, the Union Jack cover with Liam Gallagher on the front of Vogue. It was all very glamorous. Everything was about the UK. And I was in a very fortunate position that they just liked my first catwalk show that I did. And with my first catwalk show, I had Burberry allow me to use their Burberry check. Barber created my wax jacket. Liberty created a print for me. Wedgwood created cameos, buttons, everything else. So it was all the best of British, and they loved that. And yeah, it was amazing. I had a licensing deal for over 12 years in Japan, and had 17 owned stores and over 350 stockists with my name on the front door. I just want to know if they still have them there, because I'm not doing it anymore, but they could still be there.
Yeah, but that's incredible for at that time, that because you know, I was reading that you had an annual turnover of 35 million, and having that, it was Revisitation, wasn't it, by Scott Henshall?
Revisitation by Scott Henshall. To look back is to look forward, it is to revisit. And I think that's what it was about. They wanted a brand that I created for them that was British. And for me, it's all about, everything's about branding, Tonya, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they had all the facilities to create everything, but they wanted to be attached to a name. I had the name at the time, and they wanted to be attached to it. So we just engaged with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you went to do the high street as well. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about Mulberry. I'm really interested to hear, because that was such you were headhunted for a lot of people, in those days as well. But you were the first you were the first high-end fashion designer to go into the high street as well. And that opened doors.
Oh, I don't think I was the first. Jasper Conran was there long before me.
Okay,
Just
okay.
before that.
Yes. We need to get the facts. Absolutely.
I ain't gonna pretend to be something I'm not, if you get me.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it was great. No, I was so excited, and Tonya, I suppose that's my story. I would never have done a high street collaboration. It's a delight to be asked to do one.
Yes.
But I would never have done it if I hadn't needed the money. But I was in a very, what's the word, privileged place to be asked. And then it made me realize something else. And that's my story in that respect. Because I had lost millions of pounds, but I'd got a name. So why not do and create beautiful pieces that everybody can wear?
Yes, yes.
And people weren't really wearing my dresses before, if that makes any sense. And I was like, I love that. I think everything should be available for everyone, which is when it comes back to fragrances and what I love, however luxurious they are, they're still affordable. And that's what people can buy into.
Yes.
And with, you know, a dress may be like 25, 30 grand because of the fabric, but a beautiful fragrance that's under 150 pounds that still evokes all of the glamour and the lifestyle of that is everything. And that's what you take away. You only wear one of those dresses once. You carry your fragrance and your story with you through your life, and that's what you're creating.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that and being so open and honest, because it's incredible.
There's no point not being. All my friends are Irish. Do you know what I mean? It's like, shut up. I am.
But you know, it's great because I too believe in that. Just be open, transparent. But you know, it gives you it makes you so authentic, because then you move on and you assist brands and you help brands with their marketing and PR, and it opened many doors to, you know, obviously there was fashion and TV and there was so much going on. But for the fact that, you know, it became a high street, that you were available then, people could afford to buy your designs. And I think it's incredible.
Yeah, but also, Tonya, I also remember though, the high street brands only want you whilst you're doing all of your catwalk stuff. It's like your 15 minutes of fame, as Andy Warhol would say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know they don't really want me. They just want the attention you're getting at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. And I mean, but even not now, you can actually move on and share your skill sets, and you can share your knowledge with people, and they know that it comes from the heart, and you're totally authentic with it. And you've collaborated with many brands in the past as well.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of Audi, Liberty, Cath Kidston, is it Halcyon Days? Was that
Halcyon Days? They're amazing.
Yes. No, I love
they were the only brand to actually hold the 5 royal warrants back when I started working with them. And it was amazing. And they supported me for my event. And they actually created, which was so beautiful. And what I love, Tonya, as I'm sure you do, is when you're working with people with the most artisan skills, and they created the most beautiful buttons to go down my cashmere cardigans. And we're talking about cashmere sweaters that were selling at like £2,000, £3,000. But the reason people bought them was I was giving the market something that wasn't there. The most beautiful pieces. No one needs to buy anything. They have to desire it.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, we're creating these cashmere cardigans. They've got the buttons on. We're getting them made. And then it's the rest of the nightmare about the business part, but we created a beautiful product. And it sold. And people liked it. And that's the most important thing.
Incredible, incredible. And even though the collaborations that you've had in the past, have you felt that there's any pros or cons that have come in any partnerships that you could share with us? Maybe people like myself, who's just started out in business, brands only coming up to 4 years, obviously sometimes you're sharing your designs and your skill sets, etc. Is there any pros that you find in these relationships or cons?
I think the best thing I'd say, Tonya, is meeting people. And I think after the past few years during lockdown, the most important thing is having connections with people. That's what means everything to me. And that's what being able to show in Milan or Paris with your collection. It's like, well, you're creating something, but if you can't see people, there's no point. Everything is you're wanting to create things people desire. You want to connect with people. And the lack of that connection has been difficult for everyone. Oh, I don't know. How about yourself?
Absolutely. I love meeting with people. And for everybody going on to Zoom, etc., it's not the same. It's not.
I hate Zoom. I hate Zoom. I refuse to do them.
I know. But it's lovely to be able to get out, meet people, build relationships and trustworthy relationships. I love that. Even us meeting by chance, etc. It's been great because I know that I can actually move. Get ideas from you, get guidance from you. You can be honest with me.
But Tonya, isn't that what it's all about? You have to be able to meet people for things to happen. Whether you go, I don't like this person, I like this person. This can happen, this can happen. But without the ability to do so, you can't even have the choice.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I agree. So moving back again, I so want to really talk about your,
Cheers, by the way. I'm having a drink.
Cheers to you. So Vidal, you won the Vidal Sassoon in 2000 for cutting edge talent. And then later that year, you were creative director of Mulberry. That was at the age of 20.
It was young. I was obsessed with Mulberry and their handbags, and I approached their PR, and I was like, I want to do this with you. And then literally, I then became creative director.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And there's sometimes people in life are just so open, so honest. People really relate to you, I believe, and that it's just been your complete and utter talent and the person that you are. And people have seen that in you your whole life, which is absolutely incredible. Because to be head, creative director of Mulberry is incredible. And also I was reading that the Times London actually credited you for bringing them out of the red at the time.
Yeah, no, that actually happened because we did amazing photo shoots. We got people like Anna Friel, the most amazing stylists like David Thomas on board to direct it. Because I think for any brand, you've got to have your product, but you've also got to be able to create the overall vision, which includes the marketing, the PR, everything. To me, I get as excited about product is always king or queen, but then it's also about how you sell it. How do you do it? How do you promote it? Who's going to wear it? The whole thing. That excited me more than anything. Yeah.
And did you have training or anything in PR and marketing?
No, it's me.
It's just, and that's incredible as well that you were recognized for that, because a lot of people, I'm very creative, so obviously I create my fragrances, and the creative minds sometimes don't carry the PR and marketing as well. But the fact that you really just saw what the market needed.
No, to me, it's like my biggest obsession is like Tom Ford and the way that he has not only the way he reinvented Gucci and then created fragrances, beautiful makeup products, the most exquisite dresses, is how he creates himself as an entity in himself.
Yes.
And then creates it. Yeah, that's my inspiration. But you know, you never know how something happens. It just does or it doesn't.
Yeah, I know, and it's amazing. And at that time, looking back, do you think you would do anything, thinking around the time in the sort of the early 2000s, is there anything that you would do differently at that time? Or do you feel that you really achieved and learned a lot to make you who you are today?
The one thing I would do is say sorry to my mum, and I would not have just said yes to everything.
Yes, I know that I'm sure you were pulled.
I don't like the word regret, Tonya.
Yeah, same.
But however, there's certain things I did naively as a younger person with arrogance and having money that I wouldn't agree to today.
Yeah. Yes.
And I just did.
Yeah. And do you know what? That is part
because
of
it was
growing up.
easier.
Yes. And hi.
But isn't that easier? My God,
yes.
It's like a confessional.
I know, but it's great. I have that effect on people, don't worry. But you know, it's lovely though, Scott, because you know, I had a bit of a life that from trauma spiraled out of control, and I lived a really destructive life for many years. Right. I did things that I truly look back at, and again, I don't like to regret.
How old are you, Tonya, if you don't mind asking?
I'm
a lady.
51.
You look far much younger.
It's the ring light. It does wonders.
You said that, not me.
So no, yeah, so I did as well. My life spiraled out of control. And actually, I lived many years with regret, and I lived many years with...
Don't have regret.
So I actually got rid of that, and I thought, no, this is what created me who I am today. I would do things differently today. I would want my children to do things differently. Yeah. But yet again, I was able to turn those negatives around into positives. And that's what I think is amazing, you know, and I agree with you. Regret, no, we don't live with regret.
No, we let that go, don't we? It's like waste of time. It's too much negative energy. We don't want that part of our story. But it takes time to get to feel in that position, to feel that comfortable, to go, let it go. But it's important.
It totally, and I do think that is because when you get older, you realize that actually when you hold on to that regret, it just eats at you and you become very ill with it.
Yeah, but you don't choose to hold on, do you?
No.
It's about who you are or how strong you are. Yeah. Or what you want. I always say the best things that come to you can come easily. It's the things that are negative, I'm not going to swear, that test you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is testing. Gosh, yes. So let me talk. I cannot let this day go by without talking about your iconic dresses. So you
all by Irish ladies, by the way.
I know. Honestly, you were known as king of the red carpet. You are still king of the red carpet in my eyes. And you created, you created.
And about to. We've got some coming out in Cannes in the next few days. The first time I've done a red carpet dress in about 15 years. And I'm so excited.
Oh, amazing.
That Lady Victoria Harvey's going to be wearing for the film Coin, and it's going to be amazing. Wait till you see it. Completely see-through and fabulous.
Oh my God. And she will carry it off amazing.
Of course she will. We fitted her the other day. She looks amazing.
Fabulous. So tell us a little bit about this. First of all, the 5 million diamond cobweb dress.
Well, that's worn by my best friend, Samantha Mumber.
Who's amazing.
I adore. How that happened is the first time was for the Spider-Man 1 premiere. And I was asked, because at that time I was getting lots of attention. So the PR came to me. Columbia TriStar asked me to create a dress for them. So I created a Spider-Man cobweb dress. And literally in 2002, I woke up the next day, my life changed. It was on the front cover of every single newspaper. Not only tabloids, but the Telegraph, the Times, the Daily Express, the Daily Mail, the Sun, everything in the UK. And it was like everything changed.
Yeah.
So then when it came to the next premiere, we had to up it a level, didn't we? So for that, it was like Spider-Man, Spider-Man. And then there was a jewelry company in Antwerp, and they'd created a new cut of diamond. Like with a diamond, it's always about the cut, the clarity, the color. So they'd created a new cut. It was a 49 cut diamond that was called the web cut. I'm like, oh, that's just game over. We have to work with them. And they said yes.
Oh my goodness.
So literally, I approached the Diamond Trading Council. They created that. And then Ireland's very own Samantha Mumba, who's my best girlfriend. I can't wait. I want to come back, see her in Ballsbridge. If Sam's online, I'm not sure she is.
Well, we'll go together. We can go together, and we can meet together.
We can meet together. But no, it was amazing. And Sam rocked the dress, and then it got even more attention, and it went global. And it was like, wow.
Yeah.
The power of what you can do. And that's what I love, because it's not just about creating something, and it's about creating the right moment at the right time with the right PR, the right marketing, and everything. And that's what all brands are about, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to do it properly.
Absolutely. But how incredible, because it actually sits in the National History Museum, doesn't it?
It did. I only managed to get it out. It was there. It was there for a diamond event, which we actually was like the main person of. That sounds wrong, but we were.
Yes.
Back in 2005. And it was on display for all the world's best diamonds and everything. But the biggest thing is I couldn't get it back. I only got it back about 2 years ago. They actually archived it because they wouldn't send it back to me. They were like, if you can't come and collect it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm always traveling. The funniest thing is they wouldn't post it back. So it actually got archived along with like the dinosaurs. It's so funny. But
what a story.
And then I actually got it back, and it came back in a Tupperware container, because that's the best way to place this dress. And it was actually just there, beautifully presented, but it had like the sticker on, and it made it look like you were being archived away, like you were already dead. I'm like, no, far more years left yet.
Yeah. Absolutely. What an incredible story, honestly.
Tonya, I have to say, what skincare do you use?
I use a little bit of a few different ones. I use Medicate. I've started using the Trinity London cleanser.
Trinity London's great. They're an amazing brand. And you've got the most beautiful eyes. I'm not coming on to you because you know I'm gay.
Oh, I know. Well, I just love it. Thank you. So tell me a little bit about that bikini that Sophie Anderton wore. It was the most expensive one as well, wasn't it?
We won't talk about Sophie. End of. Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on. Okay. So one thing, my eldest son is.
I know she's living in Ireland now, but we're no longer friends. And
that's okay.
Trust me, there's a reason for that.
Well, just move on very swiftly. So tell me about the football boots. My eldest son loves football. And now he is 24, so I can't really talk to him like as a child, but...
Yeah, he's still your child. I'm 46,
still my baby.
And I'm telling Mum, I'm still her child.
Yes, but those boots were worn by Rio Ferdinand, Wayne Rooney, John Terry. You must have sat back sometimes and thought, oh my gosh, how did this all happen? How did I get to where I am?
Do you know what? When that was happening, I just expected it to happen, because everyone always, when things are going great, wants to be attached to you, don't they?
Yes, I know that. Yeah.
That's how it all occurred. And it was for charity, and it raised lots of money for them. But it's almost like, I think, Tonya, I think the most important thing I would like to say is, regardless of what you are, your brand, and everything else you're doing, it's about when people should just, if they love you, they love you. It shouldn't be when your things are going great.
Absolutely.
People, when things are going great, want everything from you, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Why didn't you know? It was like, that just happened. The funniest thing is, and I'm so excited, but talking about the football boots, that was roughly the same time. The proudest moment of my life is when I got nil point for dressing Gemini in 2003 for the Eurovision Song Contest. And I was presenting it with Lorraine Kelly on BBC Three, talking about it all live, and we ended up getting nil point. I'm like, do you know what? It's better to get nil point than get un point.
Yes. So true. So true.
But that's the only way I can relate it to. It's just like, you know, you can do amazing things all the time. Amazing things happen easily when people love you or want this from you. It's like, I believe, and the most important thing for me is being with people that I care for, that I love, that I trust, and creating my story that way now.
Absolutely. And I think us being older, we have that privilege to be able to see that. But I had similar experience in terms of not just having a group of friends for many, many years when you were the fun party girl, and you know, you were, and then when you move away from that sort of lifestyle, then you find all these people that used to be your friends, and you maybe hit a hard time. They're not there anymore. So you do find these really painful situations in life. But looking back, now that I'm older, honestly, it shouldn't have affected me so much years ago that it did.
Why shouldn't it have affected you? But it did. It's how you felt at the time, Tonya.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we need to talk about your TV, because you moved on into TV, didn't you? You had a TV career. You were on I'm a Celebrity. What was your experience there?
An absolute disaster. I wish I'd never done it, really. But they paid lots of money, so who's going to say no? I was the first ever fashion designer to be asked to do a reality TV show, which was great. Going to Australia. And the whole thing, it was just like, back in the day, it was far easier. But it was like, you know, I didn't think of it as a TV show. I'm not going to do a trial if I don't like it. I didn't think of it competitively as maybe I should have done. I'm just like, no, no, no. My mum was so embarrassed about me. They asked her to go on TV to talk about me, and she goes, no. I'm like, oh my God, is that me? But it's just like, I didn't look at it as the way it should have been, and I'm proud of that. But it's an amazing thing to have been part of. But I wasn't calculated, you see. If I didn't want to do something, I said no. They were still giving us food. They were still giving us everything else. You know what? Oh, I want a cigarette. They'll give us a cigarette. They didn't say no back then.
I know.
So it was just like, and I loved all the guys in the camp. And I remember when I came out, because Mylene Class was in my year, she was like, Scott, the way they've edited you, it's not who I was with.
I know.
And then you realise, oh, okay, the power of how it can be edited.
Yes. Absolutely.
I was the token faggot, Tonya.
Yeah, that's not good. And that is unfortunately.
No, and I don't think that would happen now.
No, no.
But it did then.
Yes.
And I bore the brunt of it. But I was also privileged enough to be in the position to be so. So my fault for the way I behaved in that respect. But the way it was edited, not my fault. But yeah, I wouldn't do that again.
But it didn't stop. It did actually. It didn't stop you moving on, because people really wanted to have you still on TV, and you went on and became a judge and mentoring roles in Britain's Next Top Model.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing that a long time before, because that was because of my fashion side, and and then I went on to host Kitchen Sink to Catwalk, which was on Bravo, which we did, which was amazing, about supporting women that were slightly older that wanted to come back to being models, which was amazing, and seeing the confidence that we could give women that were over 40. That sounded so old when I was like doing that like 13 years ago, and now I'm like nearly 50. But it's like, that's what everything should be about. I believe things should be about empowering people.
Absolutely.
Whatever age, being the best version of yourself.
Yes. Oh, incredible. So
Which is what your fragrance does. Especially #1.
I know you're a #1 fan, and I'm delighted. So what is next for you, Scott? Have you more designs coming? What is happening next?
Literally, we're getting ready for London Fashion Week, which, Tonya, I hope you'll be able to make on June the 11th. You've got to get your flight booked to come over.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're getting ready for my London Fashion Week event, where I'll be launching my luxury leather collection with David Hampton, which is a range of beautiful bags, which I'm so excited about. And so it's the first time I've ever launched my own collection of luxury leather luggage, which is exciting. And then I've got a collection of jewelry that's coming out with Mark Lloyd, Master Goldsmith, which I'm really excited about. So lots of exciting things. And then also, more importantly, hopefully lots of front covers with Lady Victoria.
Yes.
In Cannes this week.
Yes, honestly, I'm jealous that she's there. And
also, I want to come back to Dublin. I remember the last time I came to Dublin, and I stayed with Sam, and it's Ballsbridge area, everything else. And it was like, she was like, oh, Scott, stay out longer. You don't need to come back right now. And I was like, why? She goes, because no one's going to break in, because we all look after each other next door. It was so cute.
Yes.
And that's what I love. And I want to come back. I want to come back to the Meteor Music Awards. I've had my best nights ever. I've been in Dublin. Whether I can remember all of them, I can't.
Yes.
But they've been the best.
Absolutely. We're very, very friendly in Ireland, aren't we? We talk to everybody and anybody. And when I'm in London, I usually get into a black cab and I start chatting, and he goes, oh, you're very chirpy today, because they're not used to people talking. And we talk to everybody. I must admit,
but isn't that lovely? That's what the world's about? What's the point of being silent? It's about, as you say, sharing your stories.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Scott, honestly, it has been absolutely my pleasure. But as always, I want to end the session, it's not a session, but our live.
It is. It
feels like a session. So, with some quick fire questions. I know, you need to get that up on your shoulder. So they're very fun questions. We're just going to fire them at you, and you can just fire back a question.
I'm not flirting with you, but your eyes are really beautiful.
Favorite
just
celebrity?
To disarm you.
So, favorite celebrity you've worked with?
Madonna.
Okay, of course. And if you could collaborate with any designer, any brand, who would it be?
Chanel.
Yeah. One item.
You went, yeah.
Yeah. No. Yes. I do.
Yeah, it's like, it's Chanel. Come on.
Oh, it is Chanel, and the bags. We are total fans in here of Chanel, and their clothing.
I bought my mummy her first Chanel handbag way back, and I've constantly bought more. But I love the fact the bag is actually worth now more than I paid for it.
Yes. Absolutely. And that's the goodness. Art, good bags, fine wine always makes the money, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, not with wine, because you drink it, darling.
Yes, true. So one item you can't live without, fashion or beauty?
Sorry, ask me that again, darling. Sorry.
One item that you can't live without. It can be a fashion item or a beauty item.
Zoe's skincare wipes. They're the most amazing wipes. You need to look at Zoe's skincare. They're amazing. They revitalize my face.
My daughter uses those and has transformed her skin.
Oh my God, it's amazing. So you're aware it's the most amazing skincare regime.
Yeah.
Love them.
Yeah,
Zoe's
brilliant.
Skin.
Last designer item you bought?
I can't remember. I haven't actually bought a designer item for so long. Being honest.
That's
probably, fine. Yeah, a Gucci Mickey Mouse jumper that I bought about 3 years ago. See, lockdown stopped me buying designer pieces.
I know. So, and also, just want to end with scent story. I think you've told me your scent story when you were talking about your mom and handbags and things. So, but have you any scent story that you'd like to end up and share with us?
I think the ultimate scent story that I'd like to share is it's all about memories, and you want to create the most beautiful ones. And fragrances take you back to good times, to bad times, to everything. And I think that's why when you find your favorite fragrance, you love it, not because you just love it. You love it because of the memories it takes you back to.
Yeah.
That's why you fall for it.
Yeah. And the wonderful thing about fragrance is, you know, even if it's not going back into memories, it's all about just taking time and smelling, taking time in your day.
Oh, I mean, there's so many complex things with creating the fragrances. Like I've, got my range of candles that I'm developing. But it's when it just makes you go or stop.
Yeah.
And it takes you back.
Absolutely.
It's like it's done its job.
Yes, absolutely. And on that note,
Tonya,
yeah,
I would just like to say, yes, you've got number one. I must flag up number two, which is more verdant and green and everything else. But you always have your favourite, don't you? I'm favourite of number one. Not because it's called number one.
Yes, it is. You are the number one. You're our number one.
Number two also is beautiful. It's just my favourite one is number one.
Yeah. Oh, Scott, and on that note, thank you so much. We may end, and we just want to thank everybody that's joined us. Scott, you're truly an inspiration, and thank you for sharing your story with us all today. We will put this onto our grid, and if anybody has any questions for Scott, I'm sure you would be delighted to answer them. It's just been incredible. And I can't wait to see you in June.
I can't wait. You're coming over and we're going to get completely annihilated on Krug champagne, darling.
Absolutely. I cannot wait. So you take care.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Big kisses. Speak to you soon.